Hello everyone, Play-Doh here, and boy, a lot of you are probably going, am I in the right YouTube channel? Play-Doh? With a pistol build? On Trickster? Well, stay strapped into your seats because this build is basically the Shield Beast Nick 2 build, but with pistols. Shout out to the homies Nick, Due to the Blunt, and Mediocre for being the homies I knew that were in the lab testing Shield Beast things. Now, you're gonna hear me say one phrase a lot throughout this guide, and that's going to be Snapshot. When I say snapshot, I mean a quick capture of your twisted rounds AP to FP conversion, but more on that later. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it, starting with our skills. To no one's surprise, we're still running Hunt the Prey, Twisted Rounds, and Time Rift. Let's discuss a bit about each skill and make note of the Shield Beast set bonus. Every percent of shield will be converted to 1% anomaly power, which will be capped at 100%. Our first skill is Twisted Rounds. This is going to be our main damage source in the build, and just like all other rounds based abilities, infuses our bullets with anomaly based rounds. This allows rounds to ignore enemy armor, meaning we now go through resistance piercing instead. However, unlike any other round based abilities, Twisted Rounds is unique in that it converts 35% of your total anomaly power into firepower, and also snapshots this conversion rate based on your total anomaly power when you activate the skill. You will lose this snapshot if you reload, lose rounds, or swap weapons. Moving on to Hunt the Prey, which, annoying as it is at times, is still the best movement ability for Trickster, and without it, are you really playing Trickster, bruh? Not only is it great for mobility, it's also on a short cooldown that provides us with shield. This helps with our survivability, as well as a way to get shield to help with our snapshot. Our last skill we'll be using is Time Rift. This is going to be our go-to for AoE when paired with our 2 Time Rift mods in the build. Time Rift is also an interrupt ability, which means that as long as elites are not effect resisted, you will be able to use Time Rift to interrupt them casting their special abilities. Time Rift also applies weakness as a nice bonus. When paired with the Lies Deception PAX node, Time Rift will also provide us with a shield similar to Hunt the Prey to help us both with survival and be vital to our snapshot reaching its highest level. Alright, it's class tree time. First and foremost, let's take a look at the Trickster passives. As Tricksters, we get a whopping 5% increase to our max health, a 5% damage mitigation when we have an active shield, but most important of them all, each close range kill heals you up to 20% of your max health and grants 20% shield. Now, how do we know what close range is? Well, pay attention to your minimap lines. Each line is 10 meters in range. As long as enemies are within that first line, you're in close range. The shield we get when killing in close range also again helps us with our survivability, and as niche as it is, can sometimes help with our snapshot. Moving to the rest of the class tree, we're going to be running pretty much the exact same tree for the assault rifle version of the Shield Beast Trickster, except for one node change. Starting with the bottom tree path, we'll be taking concentration for a 10% anomaly power boost. We will then move on to disturbance coding to increase our resistance pierce by 10%. Another concentration for another 10% anomaly power boost. Then we move up to grab anomaly scything, as this will be an important part of the combo we'll be using to get the most out of our snapshots. Please note that in order for us to receive the 30% anomaly power boost with this node, you must hit an enemy with the melee. If you miss an enemy, or you're just meleeing thin air, the bonus will not apply, so keep that in mind. We'll be moving forward and grabbing the 2 concentration nodes, then head down to grab counter shield. Activating your Deception, which is our Time Rift skill, increases anomaly power by 50% for 10 seconds, which is another part of our snapshot combo. Grab another disturbance coding, followed by another concentration node. We'll then move down and grab Combat Shield's timeline so that every time we use a movement skill, which is Hunt the Prey in our case, our anomaly power is increased by another 50% for 10 seconds. And yes, you guessed it, another part of our snapshot combo. We'll then finish the bottom tree by grabbing the last 2 concentration nodes here. From the bottom tree path, we'll move to the top tree to gain more additional damage. We'll first grab Arms Trick to increase our close range damage by 15%. Then move on to Ace of Trumps, which is the better option of the 2 here, and move forward to grab Death Probability, which increases our weapon damage by 8%. We're going to quickly go down one node to grab another Arms Trick because who doesn't love more close range damage? Moving forward, we'll grab Deadly Shadow to increase our crit damage by 20%. You can also go Equilibrium here if you want to have more cooldown for your Hunt the Prey. Grab another Arms Trick and finish off the tree by grabbing both Disruptive Firepower and Outriders Executioner. Disruptive Firepower gives us a 35% weapon damage when activating our Deception skill, which is our Time Rift, and Outriders Executioner does the same but with our movement skill, which is Hunt the Prey. Heading to our PAX tree, we have a few options we can go with here. First, this is my recommended tree. We'll be primarily going bottom tree, and first pick up Triggerman. Damage is increased by 15% for each skill on cooldown. The next node will be Lies Deception, which was the PAX tree node I mentioned earlier with Time Rift. This allows us to ramp up shields using Time Rift, which again helps with our survivability as well as our Snapshot. We then take Failsafe Protocols, which gives us a 50% shield when our HP drops below 30%, as well as a 20% damage mitigation bonus for 3 seconds, and this has a 10-second internal cooldown. And yes, this helps with our survivability and at times with our Snapshot as well. Lastly, we'll be taking Goals Beyond Understanding, as any elites tagged with our Deception skill, which is Time Rift, has a 25% chance to be increased by 200%. This is my favorite node of all time for the Trickster PAX Trees and will have you melting elites in no time. Please note, however, that Goals Beyond Understanding as well as Power Overwhelming is currently bugged in that you will lose the PAX Tree bonus if you 1. Die, or 2. Return to lobby. To fix it, simply reset your PAX Tree and put the points back in after every death and return to a lobby. Annoying, but we have no other choice until a permanent fix, which I hope will come in the patch that is scheduled for the end of this month. For our last node, we'll be heading to the top PAX tree and taking Damaged. Damaging enemies with damage skills increases your damage by 10% for 5 seconds. This is pretty much a 100% uptime, as we will always be using Twisted Rounds to do damage. Now, for alternative PAX trees you can run, here are some choices. If you are a Giga Chad and you want to use revolvers instead of the burst pistols, this is actually super fun and works just as well in my opinion. Go full bottom tree and grab Triggerman, Lies Deception, Failsafe Protocols, Goals Beyond Understanding, and finish it off with Meticulous Schemer. Meticulous Schemer paired with Goals Beyond Understanding can do some crazy things with revolvers. If you want to go full pistols, blazing glory, you have the option of going Triggerman, Lies Deception, Failsafe Protocols, Rig Game, and Infinity Slinger. This isn't one that I would recommend as you miss out on a lot of damage, but if you prefer this playstyle, I can't stop you. And lastly, if you want to go with a bit more consistent damage, then you can go the exact same tree that Assault Rifle Trickster goes in Triggerman, Lies Deception, Failsafe Protocols, Power Overwhelming, which does nothing for us in our pistol build, but is required to grab Perpetuum Trickery. This allows us to get an additional 50% anomaly power when we stack our crits, then consume it with Twisted Rounds. Again, my preferred option is the first tree I showed you guys in Triggerman, Lies Deception, Failsafe Protocols, Goals Beyond Understanding, and lastly, Damaged. For our Ascension Points, as always, the first 10 into anomaly damage. From there, we can go things like close range damage, weapon damage, damage to elites, critical damage, increased mag size, critical chance, anomaly power, resistance pierce, armor pierce, and so on. Honestly, the order really doesn't matter after anomaly damage in my opinion, as you'll get Ascension Points quickly to spec into all of it eventually. Now, some of you are asking, Plato, Twisted Rounds ignores armor, why did you even mention armor pierce here? Well, you'll find out when we get to the gear section. Speaking of gear, it's time to check out our gear. Most of you all immediately skipped here, didn't you? If you did this, go back and watch the rest of the video, otherwise you're going to be missing out on some key information. Let's start with our weapons. Since this is a pistol build, who cares about our primary and secondary? For this build, I recommend 2 pistol types. The first is the burst variant of the auto pistols. Note that we would ideally like crit damage and close range damage as our main stats. So why burst variant and not the others? Well, it's because of its crit damage multiplier, base damage, RPM, but most importantly, tap RPM. While other variants provide better clip size by a small amount, higher damage by a small amount, the accuracy, stability, and the tap RPM separates this variant from the pack, making it the best option. So Plato, what is tap RPM? If you're familiar with the tactical assault rifle and why we tap it versus holding it down, the same applies to the burst variant of pistols. When we tap our burst pistols with rhythm, its fire rate increases tenfold and removes most, if not all, of the recoil. For the stats on my current pistol, you can see that we have armor pierce, close range damage, and long range damage. Armor pierce is going to be the second best option to crit damage. Why? Well, no resistance against the fortified. That's why. More on this a bit later though. For the mods we're running on our pistol, we have Shield Maiden, Mage's Rage, and Anomaly Enhancement. Shield Maiden is low-key best in slot, aside from getting insanely lucky and getting something like Fortress, Mage's Rage, or Dark Sack on the Apocalypse slot, and even Embalmer's Rage with Anomaly Enhancement on the second T2 slot. With Shield Maiden, however, the fact that shots generate shield is great for us as we want to always have as much shield as possible to output more damage and for our Snapshot. For our second mod in Mage's Rage, it's the best mod in Outriders right now, and there's more than meets the eye here. It's currently bugged in our favor and only needs to be stacked 3 times and is giving us way more anomaly power than intended. If you want the full details on this, check out Dude with a Blunt's Reddit post, link in the description below, where he goes over this in detail with the maths. For the last mod on our pistols we're currently running, it's going to be Anomaly Enhancement. We receive a passive firepower boost equal to 40% of our anomaly power, which is so nice for this build as we will be converting our anomaly power into firepower to blast enemies off of Enoch. For the 2 mods we mainly want to focus on pistols, it's going to be Mage's Rage and Anomaly Enhancement. For our second option with pistols, we will be using a Revolver. In my case, I am using the new Corruptor Revolver as it comes with crit damage and close range damage, and it was fortunate enough to roll Anomaly Enhancement on the Apocalypse slot. We replaced Target Rich Environment for Mage's Rage as that mod is pretty lackluster, and Gravedigger provides us with more single target damage for bossing. You can also use something like the Lucky here if it drops with either Mage's Rage or Anomaly Enhancement on the Apocalypse slot, and then you want to mod over Pinball because Pinball is just really bad. Again, just like with our burst pistols, our 2 mod priority here will be Mage's Rage and Anomaly Enhancement. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to be a Giga Chat and use the Revolver full time, you definitely can, as it is surprisingly really viable. Just remember what I said about the PAX Tree adjustment if you want to be using the Revolver full time though. Moving on to our gear, the attributes we want to focus on for our not set pieces would be Anomaly Power and Close Range Damage. For the third attribute, you can do something like Status Power or Skills Life Leech if you're lucky enough to get those rolls. As a reminder, we will be using the Shield Beast set as currently it is the best set out there for Trickster. Every percent of shield increases our anomaly power by 1% up to 100%. Huge! We will be using the headpiece, the chest piece, and the pants for the set as they come with the attributes we want in anomaly power and close range damage, and the cooldown reduction is nice here too. For the mods we're running here, we have Strong Twist, no resistance against the fortified, and instant reload. Strong Twist is super key here as it increases our weapon firepower by 20%. What this doesn't tell you is that the 20% is that of our current anomaly power that gets converted into firepower, not 20% of our current firepower. Our second mod is no resistance against the fortified and is only used here because we have the synergy to do so. The synergies are 1. We have a weapon with armor pierce. 2. We are also using Resistance Piercer, more on this mod later. And 3, we are also using Unstoppable Force, again a bit more on this later. Make sure if you are using no resistance against the fortified to also take the 10 points into armor piercing in the Ascension tree. If you do not meet these requirements, simply swap no resistance against the fortified to something like Anomaly Echo. You want to use Anomaly Echo anyways if you're going to be using the Revolver. I was lucky enough to have 2 of the same Shield Beast helmets roll with the same Apocalypse mod, so I can swap these out when needed. If I'm using my Revolver, I'm going to slap on Anomaly Echo, and if I'm running my burst pistols, I'm going to slap on no resistance against the fortified. If I ever find burst pistols with crit damage, however, no resistance against the fortified is going to go, and I'm going to put back on Anomaly Echo full time. For our final mod that we'll be using on our headpiece, we have Instant Reload. Not much needs to be said here. Getting ammo back on using Hunt the Prey is key for pretty much any firepower Trickster build. For our chest piece, we have set piece 2 of 3 with our Shield Beast vest. The mods we're running here are Long Range, Skull Piercer, and Captain Hunter. Long Range is one of the 2 mods we'll be using with Time Rift for that massive AoE clear. Without Long Range, Time Rift's range is just a joke. For mod number 2, we have Skull Piercer. Not the best mod for this build, but we don't have a choice as this is our best option. While we have Twisted Rounds active, critical damage is increased with every critical shot up to 20%, and this lasts until the skill ends. Our last mod on the chest is going to be Captain Hunter, providing us with that 16% damage versus elites. Like I always say, every build needs this mod. Looking at our pants, we have set piece 3 of 3 of the Shield Beast set. The mods we are running here are Ammo Bargain, Trophy, and a little bit of Pain. Ammo Bargain is also very needed here for mobbing. Since we're using pistols, we have a low magazine size count, and just the Instant Reload mod for Hunt the Prey will not be enough to consistently replenish our rounds. Ammo Bargain solves that problem and provides us with 30% ammo back on kills. Nice. Our second mod is Trophy, and we can't do anything about this. Aside from the helmet and the chest of this set, all other pieces rolls with 2 Venator's Knife mod, and it is what it is. We will always have 1 dead mod when using Time Rift with this set. You can choose to run Venator's Knife with this set, but it's not as good as the Time Rift version simply due to the massive AoE clear Time Rift provides. Trust me, I've tried the Venator's Knife version and it lacks in comparison. Speaking of massive AoE clear, the second Time Rift mod we'll be using here for the AoE clear is a little bit of pain. This mod is insane with this build. Using the skill deals X damage over 6 seconds to affected targets. Throw a Time Rift and watch as trash mobs and even elites die to the tick damage of a little bit of pain in seconds. Heading to our gloves, we were lucky enough to get one with Anomaly Power, Close Range Damage, with Arms and Anomaly, Resistance Piercer, and Personal Space. Arms and Anomaly is so good as the flat Anomaly Power bonus, similar to Anomaly Echo, is so good for this build. Anytime we land a critical shot, we get X amount of Anomaly Power for 6 seconds. The value of the Anomaly Power we get here scales extremely well, about double of what Anomaly Echo provides. The next mod we're using here is Resistance Piercer. Increase our critical damage by X%. The bonus is equal to 50% of your resistance piercing. Remember when we touched on the no resistance against the fortified synergies earlier and the requirements we need in order to run no resistance against the fortified? This mod is one of those reasons. For our final mod for the gloves, we have Personal Space. 12% close range weapon damage bonus is great for us as tricksters. And finally, for our boots, we are running Foot Gear of the Cannonball because they are the best boots I have at the moment. They come with Anomaly Power, which is really nice for us. Until I find purple boots that come with Anomaly Power, close range damage, and at least Unstoppable Force on the Apocalypse mod, this is the best it's gonna get for me for now. The mods we are running here are Crazed Gunman, Phantom Dash, and Unstoppable Force. Crazed Gunman is a no-brainer here for our pistol build, as critical shots with sidearms stack a 10% critical damage bonus up to 5 stacks. However, Crazed Gunman is currently bugged where it's giving us a total of 10 stacks instead of 5, giving us up to 100% additive critical damage. Insane. Do note that this bonus will be lost if you swap weapons or miss a shot. This mod is primarily for elites and bossing, so the downsides of it here are not bad at all. Our second mod here is Phantom Dash, and that's just here because it is the better option to mod out on the Cannonball boots. While we're stuck with it for now, it is not that bad and completely usable. I would have liked to have something like Sidearm Specialist here instead, but getting purple boots to drop with Anomaly Power, close range damage, Unstoppable Force on the Apoc, and Sidearm Specialist on the T2 mod slot is like winning the lotto. For our final mod, and to also complete our no resistance against the fortified synergy, we have Unstoppable Force. Increase our Anomaly Power by 50% of our resistance piercing. Another reminder here quickly to only run no resistance against the fortified if you meet the requirements I mentioned earlier. Unstoppable Force is the best Apocalypse mod that can drop on boots for this build, and it has been confirmed for the time being that certain pieces of gear can only drop certain Apocalypse mods. Now, this has been confirmed by the Arcan to be a bug, as there should be no restrictions on Apocalypse drops for gear pieces, but currently it's not working as intended. Hopefully something to be fixed and adjusted with a future patch. If you want to find out a community-driven Apocalypse mod drop list for our gear pieces, check out the video description below, a link will be posted there. Alright, now that we've covered our gear, let's talk about snapshotting. Earlier when I went over Twisted Rounds, I mentioned that Twisted Rounds is unique in the fact that when activated, it'll permanently convert 35% of your total anomaly power into firepower. Since we're also using Strong Twist, this is bumped up to 55%. This is where snapshotting comes in and why it's going to be so important on this build to get a proper snapshot so we can get those huge DPS blasty numbers. Ideally, we want to stack as much anomaly power as possible, then pop Twisted Rounds and profit. Let's do a quick recap on what we have in our arsenal for stacking anomaly power to get that maximum snapshot value. 1. Our Shield Beast set bonus that increases our anomaly power based on our shield percentage. 2. We have Hunt the Prey and Time Rift with the PAX node providing shields to increase our anomaly power thanks to the Shield Beast set. 3. We also have Hunt the Prey and Time Rift thanks to our class 3 nodes that also increase our anomaly power by 50% for 10 seconds on cast. Number 4, we have our melee with the class node that provides us with another 30% anomaly power boost for 5 seconds, another reminder that this will only proc if you actually hit an enemy with melee. 5, we have Failsafe Protocol's PAX node and our class passive, these ones are going to be a little bit more niche. Number 6, we have Mage's Rage and Arms and Anomaly for anomaly power on crit. Remember, we only need 3 crits with Mage's Rage, and it's best to stack Mage's Rage last for maximum efficiency, as Mage's Rage is feeding off of itself to an extent and double dipping into percentage anomaly power. Quick note, if you choose to run Perpetuum Trickery on your PAX tree, make sure you land 5 crits. If you also have Shield Maiden on your pistols, or whatever gun you use, add this on the list too. Putting this all together, here's what it's going to look like. We're going to want to Time Rift, Hunt the Prey, Melee, 3 crits with Mage's Rage, then pop Twisted Rounds. This will be our main combo for snapshotting, for bossing, and in general. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example of this combo. In this clip, we start out with our Time Rift. Then, we go in with the Hunt the Prey into an immediate melee. You can channel your melee during the Hunt the Prey animation. Crit 3 times to proc Mage's Rage, pop Twisted Rounds, and an extra Time Rift in this scenario to proc our bonuses, including goals, for the damage. Now, how do we know if we have a good snapshot? Simple. The best way to tell if you got a good snapshot or not is to check your weapon damage value in your inventory by accessing the stats sheet. Make sure you still have Twisted Rounds active from when you did your snapshot, and this is important. Let your anomaly power value decay all the way down. Then, check the stats sheet and look at your weapon damage. If it's around 2000 to 2500%, then you had a nice snapshot. If it's lower, that's fine too, just don't go below 1500%. If that happens, I would just reload and try again for a better snapshot. The snapshot value can change depending on a whole slew of interactions and your gear, so do keep that in mind. Just use this as a general tool to measure your snapshot. Here, I've included this graphic for alternative mods you can use for this build in no particular order. This build is extremely versatile in what mods you can use, so feel free to mess around with all these options. I'll have a link in the description down below of this graphic as well. Now, let's go over some general tips and tricks. Make sure to always use Time Rift, Hunt the Prey, and Weaving in melees, as well as Mage's Rage and Arms and Anomaly crits to take advantage of the huge damage bonus increases we get from doing this even after our snapshot. Don't stress out too much in regards to a perfect snapshot. Even if it's not perfect, you're still going to be blasting. You don't always have to ADS. In fact, hip-firing your pistols is low-key blasting and very, very useful. Sure, you lose out on a little bit of the accuracy, but with how much damage you do and the spread with the burst pistols especially, you're still going to be destroying everything in your path. Quick note, it looks pretty damn cool when you're hip-firing your revolver, by the way. Make sure you have a Tanner's hat equipped and you're set. Try to keep in close range if you can. You'll still be doing insane amounts of damage even if you are out of close range, but take advantage of your full damage potential. And lastly, remember to tap your burst pistols with rhythm for that insane fire rate and little to no recoil. Okay, Play-Doh, that was a lot, and yeah, it's a lot, but there's a lot to understand, and hopefully I was able to convey this well enough. But now, I want a cheese. Show us how to get that juicy 1 billion crit shot with the revolver. Okay, well first, we're going to quickly go over some changes we've made to our build. Our revolver will stay the same, however, I like to add the T1 mod Shield Maiden on our assault rifle so we can stack shields more consistently for our snapshot. For our helmet, we swap no resistance against the fortified for cut them deep. For our chest, we swapped long range for Achilles heel, and for ammo bargain, we swapped it out for anomaly caliber. The rest of the mods are the same on the rest of our gear. Next, we'll need to swap out Time Rift for Venator's Knife due to using cut them deep and more importantly, that double damage. Our class tree, Ascension Points, and PAX tree remain unchanged. Huge disclaimer here guys, this will require a bit of RNG and some patience to get the results you want. We'll be taking everything we've learned in this guide and applying it here. Just to give you an idea on some hot RNG it takes to hit that 1 billion number, you'll need to time everything correctly, stack raised gunman and make sure not to miss a shot, and pray you get a Goals Beyond Understanding proc on the first shot after using Venator's Knife. When it all comes together, take a look at this satisfying moment. We got it! Let's go! Let's go! Yo! That's it for this one. Thank you again to everyone who made it this far. Let me know in the comments down below if you're enjoying being the John Wick of Enoch. As always, feel free to check out the rest of my Outriders content that should be popping up now. I'll also have these linked down in the video description below. If you guys enjoyed yourself, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and checking that notification bell if you want. Until the next one, peace.